and welcome back to Making Sales Social. Hello, my friend Stan. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today, Bryn?
I am fabulous. So very excited for today's conversation. We are going to jump into 10 Sales Navigator tips and strategies that all salespeople need to be leveraging. So by far, this is my favorite conversation with you, Stan, because I learn every single time. I always pick something up new, and I'm excited for today. So we're going to go through this relatively rapid fire, although we have 10. So, who knows how long that'll actually take. But I'm just going to kind of read out a topic, and then I want you to riff on it, and then I'll riff on it. How does that sound?
Sounds awesome.
All right, so let's talk about tip number 1, which is mastering advanced search filters.
Yes, so the search filters are one of the key features that distinguish Sales Navigator from regular LinkedIn, because there are so many more search filters that you can use to narrow your audience down to the exact ICP, the exact ideal customer profile that you are after. And that applies to both leads as well as accounts. And leads, of course, are individuals, accounts are companies or organizations. The other thing, in addition to more filters, is the ability to save your searches. Now, granted, you can bookmark searches when free LinkedIn, but Sales Navigator actually gives you the ability to save your searches, name your searches, and easily come back to them, as well as getting notified when new people who meet your search criteria show up. So you'll get an email, you'll also get a notification in Sales Navigator. And so it just makes your life much easier when it comes to using search filters. Now, Bryn, let me turn it over to you because I know this time is going to go by super fast. So we have 10 to cover.
I love all that. So mastering advanced search filters for me comes down to 3 major tips. So I'm going to start with the account first. One of the things that I absolutely love in Sales Navigator is you can develop exactly the types of companies or organizations that you want to target by industry, by company size, lots of fabulous filters. And then there is a relationship filter that's first degree connections. So you can get a list of all the companies where you already have a connection that is perfect for you to prospect. I think it is incredibly powerful. The second tip that I love is it's a combo filter in Sales Navigator Advanced Filters. The combination is new job in the last 90 days and shared content on LinkedIn in 30 days. Now, I love this because I'm not only going to get people with a new job, but people who shared it on LinkedIn, maybe shared other content, so I can start the conversation with them by engaging on their content first and then reaching out to congratulate them on the new job. Now, I always have to get to that one step further. I know we're talking about advanced filters, but when you get that, and you congratulate them for a new position, we want to make sure that we're standing out, that it's not just a congrats. So consider having content, whether your marketing team does this or you work a little with ChatGPT and some good prompts to create a checklist. Maybe, 10 tips CFOs wish they knew in the first 90 days of their new position. So think in terms of what value can you bring them. You engage, you look at their profile, you probably save them as a lead, and then you provide content. Then, by the way, when they hit 91 days, you go back and say, okay, I want to interview you. What's one of the tips you wish you knew 91 days ago? Really a fun way to engage. Okay.
Exactly.
So My third tip that I love is more than 10 years experience, less than 1 year at the company. Right? So this is a very experienced person in a new company. They are really open to hearing new ideas, way more than people that have been there for over 10 years, right? They may have all that experience, but they're comfortable. Someone in a new position is more likely to understand that, new, or to be open, I should say, to be open to new ideas. Okay, those are my fun ones. Next, developing buyer persona for targeted searches. Now, you really introduced me to how to truly leverage this. So I'm excited. Stan, talk a little bit about developing those personas.
Yep. So buyer personas are one way that you can narrow some of your searches down at a very high level, because there are only 4 filters in buyer personas. You can filter by function, by seniority level, by geography, and by current job title. Now, you may be thinking, well, that isn't a whole lot. That's not enough for me to really target my ideal buyers. But if you're dealing with large accounts or enterprise accounts, where they have thousands of employees, and you want to quickly narrow a search down within a large company, you can create buyer personas, say your sales influencer, your IT, your financial contacts, whatever categories make the most sense. And you can use the buyer personas to filter within an organization, which will save you a great deal of time. So the power of the buyer personas is largely the ability to filter your searches within a company, rather than what we were just talking about in terms of using the many search filters to filter to build a targeted lead list, generally speaking, across companies. And you can create up to 5 buyer personas. So just be judicious about, how many you create and how you do that. Brent, any additional thoughts just on personas?
So here's what I love, the combination in persona. So I love that you can have these personas. I love the combination where you're building out a persona. I love either the title of the people you want to go after, or the combination of seniority level and oh my goodness gracious. Don't you love when your brain just blocks out exactly what you want to say when you want to say it? There is a fabulous combo. I'm going in because I'm just blocking the words
Yes,
are not coming to me. I love when this happens.
got you. We've got
But the
title.
so when you create a persona, I'm going to start over on persona. Like rewind, start over.
Okay,
Love this.
gotcha.
Okay. So as we are building out your persona, you have lots of options in creating those persona. So you name your persona, whatever that's going to be, and that should be based on maybe an specific industry you're going after. And you can have function and seniority. That's the combo, right? So it's function and seniority or current job title. Don't have all three. And don't, if you have current job title and seniority or current job title and function, it starts to limit it. So I recommend that you, when you're building out your persona, just current job title or just function and seniority. Now, when do I love to use this? I absolutely love to use persona when I am on a company profile. Don't 100% love it when it is in my advanced searches, because you can't edit them. But I love using it when I am on a company profile and there are 3,000 employees, and I check my persona and I'm down to the 8 that matter.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Wonderful.
Now,
Yeah.
Brent, do you mind if we jump to lists next? Only because lists there's so many different ways we can use them. And
Absolutely. Yeah, so I'll start with, okay, Stan, share a little bit about Sales Navigator lists.
Yes. And the reason I wanted to bring lists up at the beginning is because you can use them in your searches. You can filter by your can use lists as a search filter. You can use them as a filter for alerts, which we'll talk about soon. But lists, as the name implies, is simply the ability to categorize your leads and or your accounts into categories that you choose. So you should definitely have a list of your clients or customers. You will probably want to have a list of your top prospects. If you partner or if you work with channel partners, it's a good idea to put together a list of those. Some people use lists of competitors so they can filter those out depending on their industry. So lists just help you keep your your sales navigator universe better organized. And one of the beauties of them, as I was mentioning, is that you can also include lists in your search filters. You can exclude them or you can include them.
Mm.
So that's why I wanted to get the list relatively early, because they're going to keep coming up as we talk about some of the other topics.
Yeah, and I will say, which we did not mention in number one, I love the exclude option, right? It's really powerful. So you can creating certain lists of, let's say, people that are active prospects in your CRM. And then when you're doing a new list, you can exclude them. So that is a very powerful tool. I love this. We could go on and on with all of these wonderful things. Let's talk about, and this is really for companies uh,
Say
that have
advanced
Sales
plus.
Navigator Advanced or Advanced Plus. There's a feature called Team Link, that if you have a team, and we have 5 licenses on our team, and we have Team Link, but where it's really valuable is in larger companies when you're not connected to everyone inside your organization. So talk a little bit about Team Link.
So the wonderful thing about Team Link is, even if people are outside your network, because some of your team members, your colleagues, are connected to people that may be of interest to you, you can see in Sales Navigator who your team members are connected to, which gives you opportunities to ask your internal team members, whether they be your peers or they can be people at in different levels of the hierarchy, for introductions. And your team members should be more than happy to introduce you to potential prospects if they have a connection and a relationship with them, because it will help everybody. It'll help you close new business. It will help your company. And of course, you'll bring value to the person that you're reaching out to with your solution. So yeah, so those are the main things I wanted to touch on when it comes to Team Link. And when you're doing searches, Sales Navigator will highlight not only your mutual connections, but Team Link connections right there so you can easily see them.
Yeah, I love that. The one thing I'll add to Team Link in a corporate account is there is a free Team Link Extend. That means that people within your organization, or even board members or advisors that do not have a Sales Navigator license, can opt in to Team Link Extend, so that everyone that has that license is able to search and filter their connections. So think about, if you've got a board and they're responsible for bringing in business, and now your
Mhm.
sales folks can see who they know that the company would like to do business with. This is a win-win-win for everybody.
Buddy.
Really incredibly powerful. So if you have an advanced or an advanced plus license with more than 2 licenses, actually, because we even have Team Link with our 5 licenses, Team Link Extend, excuse me. take advantage of that Team Link Extend, because it can really bring an incredible value to your sales folks, just knowing that your C-suite, their connections, the board, their connections, all of those folks can opt in to Team Link Extend, and it really opens up a world of opportunities for your reps.
Yes. Yep.
All right, I love that. Next, account-centric strategies. I realize I kind of gave this away in the beginning, but I'm just going to start with this quickly, and then I'll let you add
Sure. Yep.
the piece on this. So I talked about searching accounts with your first degree connections. I'm going to go one higher on this for sales leaders. So when you are creating territories for your sales reps, I highly recommend bringing LinkedIn relationships into the mix. So when you are putting together an account-centric program, right? We're going to either give a rep a territory or an industry or a niche, or even just assign 80 to 100 companies per rep. Start with the social proximity of that rep. Make sure that you have optimized who that rep is already connected to before you start to divvy out accounts. Even when you are onboarding a new rep, taking inventory of who they're connected to should have a big impact on how you're assigning companies.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
anything you want to add to that one, Stan?
Just know that that's brilliant, because a lot of times leaders won't think that way. They won't think that creatively, even though we all understand how important relationships are in sales. Most are used to mapping territories by geography or by vertical market, and won't give consideration to one of the most important drivers of all, which is existing relationships with people of interest. So that is such a great tip. That's powerful. That's not one that most people will think of.
Yay. Okay. Utilizing alerts for engagement. Go.
So alerts, one of the beauties of Sales Navigator is that it surfaces opportunities for you to start sales conversations around relevant topics, relevant events that you would not otherwise see yourself, because there's just too much information out there. So alerts, which appear right on your homepage and which are categorized by lead alerts and account alerts, and then you can further filter by lists if you choose to, because it can get a little bit overwhelming in terms of how much information you have access to at your fingertips. So say you only have a few minutes to spend on prospecting because your calendar's booked with other meetings, etc. You can go into, say, lead alerts, and you can look at alerts just for particular lists. And you can also, of course, for alerts leads, for example, you can look at career changes. Bryn mentioned earlier, people starting new jobs, always an opportunity to congratulate someone. Start a conversation about what they're facing in their new position. Um, a content that leads have shared. Again, another opportunity for sharing their content, supporting them, getting on their radar just by virtue of the fact that you're sharing their content and hopefully tagging them. And then if they happen to be mentioned in the news, awesome opportunity to congratulate them. And again, this is work that Sales Navigator is doing for you
Mhm.
that you would probably miss in the course of a regular day. And then there are also alerts around accounts. And those can range from they're bringing in new people to even funding events, for
Mhm.
example. So if an account gets new money that you may not have been aware of, potential opportunity to start a conversation. So alerts are wonderful. Bryn, I'm going to turn it over to you because I know you talk about some things that, again, most people won't think of in terms of how often they're looking at alerts, who they're looking at, and this type of thing.
So I'm just gonna, because you covered so much, I'm gonna give one alerts tip. So Sales Navigator alerts is really powerful in so many ways. One of my favorites is lead shares. So the leads are sharing posts on LinkedIn. This is an immediate opportunity to engage. So let's say I go to my saved leads and I look at who they're engaging with, and I see they shared a David Newman post. And I say, oh, I love his content. It's amazing. So I'm going to go engage. But now, how do I convert that from saying, hey, I love David Newman too, to getting a real conversation or even creating a connection request? Because these may be people that you haven't even connected with. You've just saved them, right? So I might go out and get an episode from the Selling Show podcast or the Speaking Show podcast and say, hey, I see we're both fans of David Newman. Have you had a chance to listen to his podcast? It's unbelievable. Right. And so they'll say, oh, no, or oh, yes, I heard you on his podcast, whatever it is. Right. So, so we can have a conversation around content. So this is what we talk about often when we say we want to lead to our solution, not with our solution, right? And
Mhm.
so we start in a conversation. I'm going to engage with people that are talking about sales and marketing and speakers, right? Because David's attracting similar people to whom we are attracting, but we're not competing, we're referral partners, right? So when I think about how do I engage, if we're engaging around a common influencer, and I know this because of the content they're sharing, it's a huge win. Now I'm going to share one other little tip. You can now go into all of your first degree connections that follow David Newman, and you can reach out and say, hey, I heard a great podcast on this the Selling Show. I'd love to share that with you. If you're interested, let me know. I'll send you a link. And so now that we've done the research and we've got this great piece of content, go use it at scale.
Mm. Awesome.
That's
Yep.
my
No,
that's my tip for alerts. Okay, next, lead a search with second degree connections. And I want to do this back to back with client referrals.
yep. Makes perfect sense.
So
Yep.
let's start. You start. Talk a little bit about lead searches with second degrees.
Yes. So you have the ability to filter your searches by relationship, which includes first degree, second degree, third degree as well, I believe. But the two most powerful ones are first degree connections, who you're already connected with, and your second degree connections, where you have a mutual connection who may be able to give you an introduction or simply give you permission to drop their name when you reach out to the person that's of interest to you. So take advantage of that capability and that search filter to be able to, in addition to all of your other filters by title and posted on LinkedIn in the past 30 days, because those are all filters, particularly posted on LinkedIn, because that indicates activity. And it's a great way to narrow your filters down. Use second degree connections as one of your filters, because Sales Navigator shows you who you could potentially ask for an introduction to those people.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I love that. So I truly love, we do base searches. That's a search without relationships. First base searches. These are my first degrees. Second base searches. And, I pull this search up all the time. So the second base search is, I might pull that up as a primary search. And now I'm going to add additional filters like change jobs with my second degree, or I'm going to add a filter on on shared content in the last 30 days, right? And
You'll
there's
start.
so many ways to take that second degree and enhance that list. So I'm going to go to the next one, and now I'm out of order because I know we went out of order. So hopefully I'm hitting them all, but we will. I don't know if
Well,
it's 10 anymore.
exactly. We'll get to all of them.
Be 11 or 12, who knows. Anyway, so this leads us into the next one, which is my favorite, second degree connection, and then connections of. So talk about that a little bit.
Yes, so connections of simply means that you can, if you have someone that you've got a great relationship with already, you know they want to help you, they'd be happy to help you. You can enter their name in a search filter called connections of in Sales Navigator and look at who they're connected to, and then you can further filter those people based on other criteria, whether it be geography, title, function, seniority, whatever criteria are most relevant to you when it comes to narrowing down a list to your ICP. So that again is one of those filters that's overlooked by a lot of people. There's so many filters, but there are few of them, and those are the ones we're really highlighting, that are more powerful than the others.
So this is a big one. Scott asks, can you filter by people who follow my company page? And the answer is yes,
Yes.
you can. It's
Yes.
wonderful, especially in a company that has such a great brand. So Zaxby's is Scott's brand. I mean, it's like the best chicken fast food restaurant in the world. And they're coming to New Jersey, Stan. So we're going to have to go down and when
Ah.
I'm so excited. We'll go visit. But yeah, so you can go and see, you can use all your filters, and then of all of those perfect people that come up, how many of them already know your brand because they're following it? So that's very powerful. All right. Let's go into smart links for content and engagement.
Yes, smart links are a wonderful feature that at Sales Navigator Advanced and Advanced Plus have access to. And in short, smart links gives you the capability to connect multiple pieces of content to one link, one URL that you can then share. Now, that in and of itself is powerful because you don't have to worry about content being too big to get through email filters and this sort of thing. You're just sending a link. But what's equally, if not more powerful, are the analytics and the ability for you to see when people are looking at what you shared with them and what they're looking at and for how long. So when you stop and think about it, you can send anything from presentations to proposals. If you ever do presentations to groups, what's the first question? Can we get a hold of a copy of the PowerPoint? And the answer is yes. And you can even link a QR code to a smart link, and they can just take a picture of that and they've got the presentation. They're off and running. Now, Bryn, I know that Smart Links is one of your favorites and you've gotten business from it.
I've gotten a lot of business from it, and I'm going to share the one story that I have permission to share. And so you've heard it 700 times, but I'm going to share it again. So I absolutely love smart links. Yes, you can put out content and see all those analytics. More than anything else, what I love about it is years later, someone looks at it, you're pinged. So I'll start from the beginning. Many years ago, VanillaSoft was a big prospect of mine. Daryl Prale was the CRO. We had talked many times. We had done podcasts together. We had hung out at conferences together. I had sent him a proposal. He looked at it a few times, passed it around his company. They looked at it a few times, and it just never came to fruition. So that's okay. Not everything closes. Well, about a year and a half, 2 years later, Daryl takes another job with a company called Agorapulse. And I did not even notice, my bad, that he had switched jobs. I'm not even sure he had announced it yet. And he was looking at the proposal. And I get a ping from SmartLinks that says, Daryl Prale is looking at your SmartLink. Like, oh, it's been a while. So I reached out, and within 2 weeks, Agorapulse was my client. Now, I don't know if he would have reached out. Maybe it would have been months later. Maybe he would have been distracted and it wouldn't have been as much of a priority as it was in the moment when he went back 2 years to look at my proposal again. But SmartLinks absolutely was huge in closing that opportunity. So I have dozens of stories from our clients, personal stories of how SmartLinks can change your business.
Mhm. Yep, and that's another example of the fact that Sales Navigator alerts you to things that are happening in real time
Mhm.
that are opportunities for you because time does matter. Bryn mentioned that he might have gotten distracted and just not called because things keep coming up. So things like alerts and the smart link notifications put you in control as far as initiating outreach and relevant conversations.
Love that. All right, let's talk about business intelligence with account IQ. And I'm going to tag on buyer mapping to that.
Great. Account IQ. We all know that Sales Navigator is continually adding AI-driven capabilities to what it offers. And Account IQ was one of the first. There are more to come. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but it is exciting what's coming over the next few months and beginning of next year with AI. But Account IQ, at the click of a button when you're on an account page, provided it's over, I believe it's 200 employees now, will show you a dashboard of relevant information on accounts, from what their strategic priorities are, who their biggest competitors are, uh, information, how they make money, for example, what their executives are saying right now in the news. So for example, if you are going into a meeting and you just want to quickly see, is there anything new about this account that may have just popped up in the past few days since we set the meeting, the Account IQ dashboard will show you that. So it is a phenomenal tool. It's driven by AI, and so it's pulling information from a number of different sources that populate this dashboard that just makes your life very easy when it comes to putting your finger on strategic information related to a specific account. Now, Bryn, for the buyer mapping, for the other side of it, I'll turn it over to you. But Account IQ it's awesome.
Yeah, I love account IQ. And I will say, in talking with some reps that are using Sales Navigator and account IQ, they believe it's saving them about 20 minutes per client call in the research they had to do before. So when you think about that, if they have 3 calls, that's an hour a day, 5 hours a week, 20 hours a month, 200, and well, it depends on if you have vacations or not, 200 plus hours a year that account IQ is saving these reps. Because they go out and they'd spend 20 minutes doing all the research that account IQ is doing for them now. So it's amazing. Buyer mapping. I absolutely love this, and I'm really playing with it so that I'm leveraging it in the best way possible. But when you save leads inside of accounts and you go down to the buyer mapping area underneath account
Mhm.
IQ, relationship area, right? You are able to create org charts and then assign them. Are they a champion? Are they a decision maker? And so when we are in an environment where there's 6.8 decision makers, I just heard 11 decision makers or
Mhm.
influencers on every call. And I heard the influencers go up because everybody's on Zoom meetings. It's so easy to jump in on one. So that there's so many decision makers, it's hard to keep track. So I love this org chart, and I'll ask my champion who reports to whom. I try to really build out that buyer mapping, so whenever I'm on that company page, at a glance, I can see who I'm talking to and what their role is in the buying journey. I
Yes.
think our last one. No, that might have been our
Oh,
last one. Did I miss one?
did you want to
Oh,
talk about prospect by interview?
yeah. So just brief, let's just talk about campaigns for a minute. So I'll just start quickly and then I'll let you round it out. We help our clients run campaigns: prospect by poll, prospect by interview, prospect by influencer, prospect by content, and on and on. We've got tons of them. When you do this in Sales Navigator, especially if it is connected to your enablement platform, like a Gong or a, Sales Loft, or my new favorite, Membrane, which is, by the way, mind blowing. So when you are connected to this and or your CRM, you can literally run campaigns on LinkedIn, and Sales Navigator really helps you to stay organized where you are in the process. And when you are communicating through Sales Navigator and it's connected to your CRM, it really helps to streamline the process.
Good deal. Good deal. All right. Yep.
Well,
And
yeah. Any last
it's been great. Just campaigns give you a way to form new relationships while positioning the people you're reaching out to as experts in their field, complimenting by letting them know, hey, I would love to interview you, or whatever the case may be, because of your expertise in this particular area. And so when you do it, it highlights them
Mhm.
and it also builds your relationship. So this has been awesome, Brent. The time went by quickly, as it always does.
Always does. Well, I appreciate you, my friend, and I thank you. And for all our listeners, if you're enjoying this, go to socialsaleslink.com/podcast and subscribe on your favorite channel. I think we're on all of them. We would love that. And, if you really, really love it, feel free to drop us a recommendation on iTunes or Spotify or wherever your typical recommendations are. So we appreciate you guys so much. And when you're out and about, don't forget to make your sales
So